when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home.
I'm drank up and I'm banked up and I'm faded. You bend it down and you poke it up and you elevate it. I'm drank up and I'm danked up and I'm faded. You bend it down and you poke it up and you elevate it, you elevate it.
I came over, I ain't sober, I'm still drunk, that's hangover. Might run it back when this page over. You the best thing I done slaved over. Gon' arch you back and been way over. It's overdue for that understressing. Over him, now you underdressing. Call me up and I come finessing. Like, ooh, we shot it, what it do, what it don't. Baby, you a queen, you can move how you want. You was rocking with me when I couldn't stay afloat. They ain't never saying nothing wavy to a boat. Like, eyes up, look at me, now I'm the captain. Brought the camera, time for action. Split the legs just like a fraction. Tuck the napkin, time for snacking. You a mother meal. Tell me that it's mine, baby, tell me that it's real. Hit it to the max, well, tell me how it feel. It's gonna be a minute, cause I'm in it for the thrill. Make her feel like heaven, she gon' put me in the wheel. And willingly, I wanna do anything she wanna do. I ain't even wanna boo, but this is what the karma do. It's hard to be apart from you, cause ooh, I
love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home.
I'm drank up and I'm danked up and I'm faded. You bend it down and you poke it up and you elevate it. I'm drank up and I'm danked up and I'm faded. You bend it down and you poke it up and you elevate it, you elevate it, you.
twisted around your finger like a piece of string. I'm winded, chasing after your ghost is real exhausting. I'm in love, but I don't think it's what I thought it was supposed to be. Love story, no guts and no glory. How did I get so dizzy thinking of you? I don't usually get like this. It's something about you I miss. Could it be we never had that kiss? Well, I don't usually get like this. 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 Reminded of how I met you, tried to catch you falling. Instead I fell off myself and I just can't stop falling. These wings are gonna flap for me if I keep waiting. Keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting. How did I get so dizzy thinking of you? I don't usually get like this. I don't get like it's something about you I miss. Could it be we never had that kiss? I just wanna kiss you. Well, I don't usually get like this. Get like this. Get like this. No. Get like this. Get like this. Yeah. Get like this. She loves me not. This bouquet is all I got. I'm dreaming, or could it be a future for you and me? She loves me, I know it's true. Or maybe I'm the fool for you. I don't usually get like this. It's something about you I miss. Could it be we never had that kiss? Yeah, I don't usually get like this. Get like this. Oh, get like this. No, get like this. Yeah, get like this. Get like it like this.
Feel like falling deeper. Cold nights 난 너무 싫어. 기다리기에는 너무 길어. 줬던 내 사랑이 식어. 기대만 하는 것도 난 힘들어. No, I can't, just can't. 가져 내 맘을, 놔줘 내 가슴을 다 바쳐 사랑하기엔 내 자신이 너무 걱정돼. 바보 같은 생각이야. 알아 멍청해. 상상만으로도 좋은 상상만으로도 힘든 이중적인 면을 가지고 있어. 사랑이라는 걸. Oh yeah. Baby, can't you come with me? Can't you hold my hand 가는 방향이 어딘지 서로 궁금해져 버려 애써 맘 졸여 하늘만 보면서 언제쯤 알게 될까 너도 나와 같은 생각을 하고 있을까 한참을 멍하니 보다 보니 살짝 어두워진 색깔 불그스름한 노을의 때깔 상상만으로도 좋은 상상만으로도 힘든 이중적인 면을
You broke my heart a million times. Can't count the times I made you cry. Oh, we're such a mess now, and we're burning out. I get so sad at the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. I can't bear the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. You're still perfect as the day goes by. Even the worst ones hate, they make me smile. I stop the world if it would give us time, yeah, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, yeah, yeah, to work things out, to work things out. Oh, yeah, to work things out, to work things out. Can we be honest? You're my comfort zone. Whatever I say, don't let me go. I know you're angry, babe, and I am cold. I get so sad at the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. I can't bear the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. You're still perfect as the day goes by. Even the worst ones hate, they make me smile. I stop the world if it would give us time, yeah, to work things out.
You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home.
I'm drank up and I'm banked up and I'm faded. You bend it down and you poke it up and you elevate it. I'm drank up and I'm danked up and I'm faded. You bend it down and you poke it up and you elevate it, you elevate it.
I came over, I ain't sober, I'm still drunk, that's hangover. Might run it back when this page over. You the best thing, I done slaved over. Gon' arch you back and been way over. It's overdue for that understressing. Over him, now you underdressing. Call me up and I come finessing. Like, ooh, we shot it, what it do, what it don't. Baby, you a queen, you can move how you want. You was rocking with me when I couldn't stay afloat. They ain't never saying nothing wavy to a boat. Like, eyes up, look at me, now I'm the captain. Brought the camera, time for action. Split the legs just like a fraction. Tuck the napkin, time for snacking. You a mother... meal. Tell me that it's mine, baby, tell me that it's real. Hit it to the max, well, tell me how it feel. It's gonna be a minute, cause I'm in it for the thrill. Make her feel like heaven, she gon' put me in the wheel. And willingly, I wanna do anything she wanna do. I ain't even wanna boo, but this is what the karma do. It's hard to be apart from you, cause ooh, I
love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low. Make you sit right here. Now you can't go back home. You love it when I get.
You broke my heart a million times. Can't count the times I made you cry. Oh, we're such a mess now, and we're burning out. I get so sad at the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. I can't bear the thought of losing you. I'm losing you. You're still perfect as the day goes by. Even the worst ones hate, they make me smile. I stop the world if it would give us time, yeah, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, to work things out, yeah, yeah, to work things out, to work things out. Oh, yeah, to work things out, to work things out. Can we be honest?
Mic check.
You're my comfort zone.
You're my comfort soul.
Whatever I say, don't let me go.
Don't let me
I
go.
know you're angry, babe, and I am cold.
Mic check 1 2.
Alrighty.
Test 1 2. Everything looks good. Let's make it.
I can't bear the thought of losing you.
Let's make it happen, y'all.
Losing you.
There we go. We are live.
Still perfect as the day goes by.
As the day goes
Even
by.
the worst ones hate, they make me smile. I stop the world if
Billy
it
Armstrong,
would
Stephen Day,
give
what
us
up?
time,
Hoo-ah!
yeah,
To work things out.
to work
To work things out.
To work things out. To work things out. Yeah, yeah. To work things out. To work things out.
We're reading. I gotta read fast today because it's a lot.
To work things out.
It's a lot.
To work things out. To work things out. To work things out. To work things out.
All right.
To work things out.
Excited.
To work things out. To work things out.
Make the switch automatically, and we are back. Welcome everybody to another chapter of Rich People Read, where we read a book a month to instruct you in the ways of the successful through the power of reading. That's right. This is a live book club. This is a live book club where we read two types of books: relationships and entrepreneurship. This channel is all about the two ships, relationships and entrepreneurship. And each month we flip-flop between the type of books that we read. Right now we're on a relationship book. We're reading the Book of Obsidian, the ladies edition, because we already knocked out the Book of Obsidian, the black version. Now we're on the red version. You can see it right here, right there. You can see it right there. And we knocked out the book for the gentleman in January, and now we're knocking out the ladies edition this month, which is something a little bit different than we normally do. And actually, it's a lot of bit different. We're reading directly and helping the women. This month's book is directly a message for the women. So please share this video to your YouTube channels. Hit the share button, post it right on your YouTube channel. Let all the ladies come in and watch the live or the replay. Either one works for me. As long as they're getting this information. We are on chapter 17 of 27 chapters, so we're already halfway through. There's 27 chapters of this book. Hey, Heather. Hey, LaRonda. Good morning. We're on chapter 17 and 18, the Swirling Wars. Ladies, are you guys interested in dating other than black men? Are you interested in dating other than black men? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our ones.
Being number one isn't easy.
Throw your ones up. My man Peter Investor M has blessed the channel. He is now the stream sponsor. Thank you so much, brother. Let's go ahead and highlight his name. Everybody that blesses this channel with a super chat gets a highlight. There we go. Let me add my man Peter Investor. He's been supporting this channel for a long time. Well, the channel is not even that old. So considering the age of this channel and how long I've been doing these lives, Peter Investor's been here for a while. Let's go ahead. I don't want to do that. That was accident. I want to hit him with the sponsor. Hit the wrong button. Peter Investor M is now the stream sponsor. I got his name scrolling across the top of the screen right here. And you'll see that. I appreciate you guys for your super chats. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much, Peter. Appreciate you. Hey, Alicia. What up? Hey, Steven. I gave you a shout out earlier. I wasn't sure. And then Heather's here. So we're reading chapters 17 and 18. Ladies, are you interested in dating other than black men? Have you considered dating other than black men? Black women, have you considered dating other than black men? Is it tough in the black mating and dating world where you're considering, you know what, I may need to go ahead and step out and give Enrique, Jose, I may have to give Brad, Brett, I may have to give, Mr. Lee a chance. Have you considered that maybe you need to step out of dating just black men and start dating other than black men, black women? Hope everybody is taking their BCAAs for the day and has been drinking a lot of water. This is part of the fountain of youth. Drinking a lot of water and taking your amino acids, knocking out two birds in one stone. Knocking out two birds with one stone is a part of the fountain of youth, right? If you want to get older and be good looking, healthy and strong, you're going to have to drink a lot of water. That's right. Everybody type salute in the chat. You'll notice that all the people in the chat is typing salute and the system is picking up their names. The system is picking up their names to let them know, hey, we appreciate you. Alicia just typed salute in the chat and the system said, hey, Alicia, we got you. We got you. Present and accounted for. What's up, Miss Drea? Glad to have you here, Miss Drea. You know, Miss Drea, we're doing one of your, for others that don't know, Miss Drea is an associate producer of this channel. Miss Drea is one of our associate producers of this channel. And Drea, we're doing one of your check this outs today. Drea, we're doing one of your check this outs today. So tune in. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump right into it. For everybody that's new to the channel or is watching this for the very first time, this is a live book club where we read a book a month. And we're finishing, we're going to be reading chapter 17 and 18 of the Book of Obsidian, the ladies edition of the 27 chapters in this book. It's 2 chapters per day that we're reading. We read on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, typically 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're getting ready to knock this out right now. So everybody put in your headphones. Put in your earbuds and put on your headphones. Turn the volumes up. Grab your copy of the book. If you don't have it, please click the link in the description of this video. It'll take you straight to the proper version of this book right at Amazon. You can have it tomorrow. Amazon, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you'll have it delivered tomorrow for free. Appreciate you guys for being here. What's up, Prod by Pack TV? I'm having troubles saying shit today. I hope I don't have no problems reading to you guys. Let me drink some more. Let me get some more of this brain enhancer. I notice when I take my vitamins, because I take 7 vitamins. You guys have you guys seen the show I did talking about the vitamins that all adults should take? I'm gonna do a separate show a clip that explains it just that, but it was part of a bigger show talking about women don't like fat guys. It's in that show, but I'm gonna do a specific show on this that explains. Come, Marvy, come on in. I think my assistant's here. Yeah, she's at the front door. Marvy, if you're listening to this, you can come on in. You could walk across, and you can go into the other back room to do your stuff if you need to. Whenever I drink my BCAAs and I take my vitamins early enough, my mind feels sharper. When I don't drink enough liquids and hydrate, I tend to mince up my words sometimes. So make sure you guys are drinking all the vitamins and nutrients and taking all the things that you should be taking to have a nice, sharp mind. It's important to have a sharp mind, right? I should have been drinking this way earlier, and I took my vitamins late. I normally take them around 6:30. I should have took them earlier. Hey, you. What's happening? Morning. You can go in the back. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's get ready to get started. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's switch over to our read screen. And we are going to knock out chapter 17, the Swirling Wars. Ladies, are you guys interested in dating outside of your own race? White women, are you interested in dating black men? Black women, are you interested in dating white men? Other than your own race, men. Let's talk about it. I appreciate you guys being here. And let's get busy. Chapter 17 of the Book of Obsidian, the Swirling Wars. It's redundant. The reason why we don't need where white people meet is the same reason we need other race-based dating websites. Christian Kerrison, American writer, columnist, and blogger on the subject of interracial dating. No book can or should be written addressing the state of Black love. No book, how's that? Yeah. No book, hold on, you guys. There we go. No book can or should be written addressing the state of quote unquote Black love in general and the role Black women play in that, without at least one chapter being devoted to what has been known as swirling, or put another way, interracial relationships featuring Black women and non-Black, usually white men. In the years since the advent of social media, the swirling notion has gotten a degree of traction that simply wasn't the case previously. There have been a number of reasons for that, which we'll get into in a bit. But for now, let's get a lay of the land, so to speak, and the events that have led us up to this point. Swirling, as I will refer to interracial relationships from here on out, has had a long and highly controversial past in our society, arising, of course, out of the coarse and often cruel manner in which we viewed our fellow American citizens, those of African ancestry. The ignoble past of slavery and indignity of Jim Crow and the long struggle for justice and equality have all been collectively seen as America's cardinal sin. While there have been steps in fits and starts to redress all of this and repeal progress has been made, the fact that the single most controversial topic in the ongoing gender war between Black men and women continues to be along swirling lines only proves that we have a very long way to go. The historic U.S. Supreme Court Loving versus Virginia decision, ruling anti-miscegenation laws to be unconstitutional, attempted to move the needle of justice on one of the most important matters to any of us: the right to be free to love who we want. And yet, despite this, in more than half a century since this historic high court ruling, Black women in particular have had a tough time in the 21st century cosmopolitan mating market. What are we to make of all of this? I think there are a number of important factors to take into account as we delve into quite possibly the most controversial issue in this entire book. Tighten your chin straps. Hey, Princessa, it's good to have you here, love.
Hooah!
It's good to have you here. It's always good to see Princessa. Good morning, Marvy. Crystalline Carrison. She's the founding mother of the swirling movement. Although there have been a number of advocates for Black women to expand their options, including among others Stafford University Law School professor Ralph Richard Banks, perhaps the single biggest name of the swirling front is one of Miss Crystalline Carrison. You see, Carrison has argued that the poor state of Black men is the reason why Black women should seriously consider opening their options to mate other races. As noted with Banks, whom Carrison very much endorses, that the notion that Black men ain't shit serves as a powerful impetus for Black women to do what Carrison is suggesting. And on the face of it, and hearkening back to the Loving versus Virginia decision, one can't really knock their argument for one very simple reason: the First Amendment. The right to freedom of association. Black women, being American citizens, have as much a right to find the best possible mate they can, regardless of color, race, creed, or even more to the point in our time today, sex and gender. No reasonable, thoughtful American could argue with that, and in truth, the vast majority of Black men actually don't argue with that. It is the way in which this right is discussed, debated, presented, and on the parts of Banks, Carrison, and others, like Northwestern University scholar Cheryl Judas, instead of two people, one a Black woman and the other a white or otherwise non-Black man, merely meeting and coming together on the grounds of shared interests and the like, it is always framed as if it's a sorry state of Black men writ large that is the reason for Black women having to go and mate out. It's Black men's fault. It's almost as if white and non-Black men are some kind of escape hatch for Black women escaping Blackistan, as many aspiring swirling Black women like to call Black America, under the failed leadership of Black men. Black men online rightly push back against what they see as a deeply biased and unfair propaganda campaign that seeks to use them as a kind of whipping boy for Black women who are just merely unlucky in love and seek an scapegoat. You see, for Carrison's part, again, backed up academically by Banks and others, she is merely arguing for Black women to seek out for the best man for the job, right? Of winning the hand of Black women who want to be wives, mothers, and mates. Again, on the face of it, no reasonable person could be against that, right? But it is in the execution of her claims that leave a lot to be desired. Indeed, much of her social media moves seem to have more to do with peddling in Black men ain't shit content than actually making the case that the best man for the job should be the focus for many Black women. Not daily bromides about how Black men ain't doing this or doing too much of that. Once one gets an understanding of Carrison's backstory, though, hey Sharon, good to have you here, love. Once one gets an understanding of Carrison's backstory, though, it is very easy to see how and why she has approached things in the manner she has over the past decade or so. You see, Crystalline Carrison herself, she got burned in a relationship she had with what she would describe as the ideal Black man, the IBM. In her own words, Swirling, How to Date, Mate, and Relate Mixing Race, Culture, and Creed from 2012. During her college years, she herself, Carrison, became pregnant by her ideal Black man, and he refused to put a ring on it. Crystalline Carrison got pregnant by her ideal Black man, the perfect Black man in her eyes, and he wouldn't marry her. This is what she says. The biggest ink blot on your list might be your desire for IBM, the ideal black man. Ladies, is this you? I'm reading to all the ladies today, all the black women, that especially the black women that are interested in swirling out. This is what Kristen Lynn Carrison said in her book from 2012, 10 years ago, right? This is a woman that had a baby by a black man, and she felt that she got burned because he wouldn't marry her. She says, the big ink blot on your list might be your desire for an IBM, an ideal black man. Individual preferences may vary, but usually the IBM is more than 6 feet tall, right? He's devilishly handsome, optimally went to an Ivy League school, and he makes $1 gazillion a year. He loves his mama, who raised him all by herself, all alone, and sent him to college with all the quarters that she saved from the moment he was born. Sound about right. I'll admit it. He does sound good. And if you are an IBW, an ideal black woman, you surely deserve an IBM. After all, every great man should want an equally great counterpart, right? Now, what up, Sherwin? Shout out to Sherwin. Sherwin hit us with a super chat, but he doesn't say anything. He just blessed the channel with a $5 super chat. In fact, because he blessed the channel with a $5 super chat, he is a co-sponsor of today's show. Let me add my man to the list. Let me add him to the list right here. Him and Peter Investor M. Let me put Sherwin Thomas to go across the screen. Boom. Sherwin Thomas is the stream sponsor of the day. Him and Peter Investor. Thank you, bro. Everybody throw your ones up.
Being number one isn't easy.
I appreciate you, man. Throw your ones up.
Being number one isn't easy.
Whenever you guys give me any money of any amount, even if it was 99 cents, that's a blessing. It helps keep this show going. Thank you so much, man. Exactly, Ms. Dredd. Not all the quarters, because, saved all the quarters to send her baby to college. You see, that failure, this is what Obsidian says about what she wrote. That failure would set Carrison on a course to try her hand at opening up her options and landing the white man that is her namesake today. Though, again, they've been divorced for quite some time. As of this writing in late 2021, she met her ex-husband, Mr. Carrison, on Yahoo Personals, and early on, she carried the financial load of the relationship until such time as Mr. Carrison can get his act together. One of many glaring hypocrisies of the swirling movement, because where Mr. Carrison were, say, Mr. Washington, Carrison wouldn't likely be so sanguine about the matter. I don't know what sanguine means. Somebody look that up for me. Throw it in the chat. But you guys notice the interesting thing? She had a baby with the black guy in college. The black guy wouldn't marry her. So she said, you know what? I'm going to start teaching women. She's like the founder of the pink pill movement, right? I'm going to start teaching women to step out and go get you a white guy. Carrison went and got a white guy, married the white guy, took on the white guy's last name. And according to Obsidian, the white guy was a deadbeat. Well, I wouldn't call him a dead. He was a non-producer male. He wasn't shit until she had to carry the financial load of the family until he got on his feet. And now they're divorced. What's the irony of that, right? The irony of go get you a white guy, they're better than these ain't shit niggas, and then she got an ain't shit white guy. Make it make sense. Indeed, in our time, many of you lovely ladies have made it abundantly clear that you ain't trying to build a boo. That's not what you're trying to do. You want a plug and play kind of guy, ready to rock and roll right out the box, so to speak. This is the point made powerfully by life and relationship coach Rebecca Lynn Pope several years ago, and to the tune of well over 1 million views on YouTube. Again, no reasonable person or black man in this case can knock that. After all, black women have as much a right to their desires and standards as anyone else. It's just that it's clear that when it comes to swirling, black women enact the very kind of discriminatory two-tiered system on black men that was imposed on us as a race in society for centuries. Oh, the irony. The irony. The ironies continue to mount. For all the talk that Carrison and Banks and Judas and others like Karen Longhorn Folan in her book entitled Don't Bring Home a White Boy and Other Notions That Keep Black Women from Dating Out do about getting the best man for the job, right? Because that's their biggest message. Get the best man for the job, ladies. In truth, this doesn't happen anywhere near as often as we'd led to believe. Serena Williams, the tennis player, you know, Venus and Serena Williams, Tamron Hall, right? Gabby Sidibe, and Tyra Banks are just a few names of currently famous or otherwise notable black women who, let's be honest, made it or married down. A huge talking point when it comes to the brothers. They made it down. They were here and they had to hook up with somebody down here. The fact of the matter is that for some of us, the man we choose to date or marry won't match the picture of Prince Charming we had in our heads, though a necessary realization of our wants as well as our needs, our requirements tend to keep us from getting exactly what we want from a relationship. What exactly are those requirements, you ask? Well, they differ from woman to woman, but typically include things such as education level, job status, financial ranking, asset acquirement, or simply the basics of wanting someone who is loyal, honest, funny, etc. And that's partly because the facts don't lie. Just 49% of college-educated black women marry a well-educated man, i.e., with at least some post-secondary education, compared to 84% of college-educated white women, according to an analysis of the PSID data from Yale sociologist Vita Marlani. But when it comes to non-black or white men, suddenly that 3-mile-long list of requirements, when it comes to white men, when it comes to non-black men, that long list of requirements that black women have for black men suddenly gets a lot shorter. That list of requirements that black women have for black men suddenly become a nice little short, quick list when it comes to other than black men. Oh, how convenient. Even more pedestrian black women seem to relax their notoriously high standards in dating and mating for black men when it comes to the prospect of dating non-black ones. For example, consider this interesting piece from the New York Times called "In Italy, I Kept Meeting Guys, the Black Women Who Travel for Love," and reports on how American ADOS black women are traveling overseas and finding love with non-black men. Only thing is, none of these pairings are marriages. None of these connections are marriages, even though more than one such couple profiled have kids, or ones that feature Italian men of means and distinction who are honestly on the same level as black women featured. Funny that. Black women using mainstream media, academia, entertainment, and now increasingly social media to scapegoat black men writ large to explain away their own personal relationship failings is certainly nothing new. But what is new is the raft of data and statistics that utterly refute the swirling sisterhood's major claims, such as: 1, there are currently 2.5 million black men in the upper class. 2, there are more black men graduating or in college than actually in prison, in jail. 3, that nearly half of all single and childless black men actually want to get married or be in a serious long-term relationship. And 4, and that contrary to the swirling wisdom that you'll get from the pink pill community, 83% of high-value black men earning $100,000 a year or more are married to black women. That leaves only 17% marrying out. The other 83% of high-earning black men want black women. 17% marry out. Only 17%. But you wouldn't hear that from the swirlers. One would think that a demographic of black women who tout their educational prowess as their major selling point, right, would attenuate their talking points in the face of growing mountain of evidence that runs contrary to what they previously believed, right? But to paraphrase that great philosopher of the late great Rick James, those false narratives are a hell of a drug. Carrison herself, she continues to be a player on the swirling front, and she very much considers herself something of an activist, more than merely a lifestyle or dating coach focused on interracial dating and mating for black women. This makes a lot of sense since we know that activists tend to make the personal political. They are victims taking the lemons they were handed in life and making lemonade out of it. Fair enough, we get it. Moreover, we know that women in general tend to politicize things a lot more than men do, especially when it comes to dating and mating. And nowhere is this more evidence. Nowhere is this more in evidence than when it comes to you lovely ladies and how and why you keep losing the mating game. Of course, it can't ever be possibly your fault, right? It's never your fault, right, ladies? It's not your fault that you losing in dating. It's black men ain't shit. That's the reason why, right? What up, Sheed? My man Sheed is here.
Hoo-ah!
So, ladies, what's stopping you from swirling? Black women. What is stopping you from swirling? If it's so great and it didn't work out for its leader, but it's so great, and even the ones that we know, they're dating down, but it's so great, right? What's stopping you from dating other than black men, white men in particular? Well, apparently, if market demands has anything to say about the matter, it's non-black men. Simply put, there aren't enough of them to scale to meet the supposed demand of black women that wants to swirl. According to blackdemographics.com, and as of the year 2017, 93% of black women who are married have a black husband. 93% of black women who are married to a black man versus 85% of black men who are married having a black wife. And at no point since the aforementioned Loving versus Virginia decision more than 50 years ago have black women matched or overtaken black men in the interracial marriage race. Black men have always married out more than black women. 93% of black women are married to black men. Out of 10 people in the room, damn near 9.5 of them, not even a full 10%, is married to anything other than black men. It's been argued, as the swirling advocates have above, that the chief reason for this is the negative self-talk and, to a somewhat lesser extent, the cultural, read black male, messaging black women receive along these lines. But even if that were true, the headlines point to other reasons why black women have a much tougher time swirling than their black male counterparts do. For example, here's one of the reasons why it's tough for black women to date out. One among many, as it turns out, University of Pennsylvania professor Sarah Adenike Skold freely admits black women's difficulty getting the swirling job done. Not to be outdone, academics Ken Ho Lin, Celeste Curlington, and Jennifer Lindquist argue that black women are being actively discriminated against. Black women are being actively discriminated against. Black women are being discriminated against on these online dating apps, and that something should be done about it. An exhaustive piece appears on the Canadian website The Walrus, chronicling the dating travails of highly educated and accomplished, sorta, black women in the spring of 2017. The hit parade continues. Here's one from the National Public Radio, NPR website, Least Desirable, How Racial Discrimination Plays Out in Online Dating. Another from the Washington Post, and yet another from, this time from the New York Post. And it goes on. Sure, you could make the case that in a woke age, and in line with the intent of American democracy, such preferences, racial or otherwise, should be tossed on the dung heap of history, right? Yet, how many of the very same lovely ladies who make such an argument, like the lawyer Miss Hadaya Roderick, would be so quick to toss other discriminatory barriers, like the ones she herself had no qualms enacting in her search for a mate? Point being, where does preference stop and discrimination begin, ladies? And do we really want to live in such a world that eradicates our right to choose? In any event, while it's certainly true that not many non-Black American men are taking the Black lady bait for whatever reasons, the fact remains that there are other variables at work that account for not only how and why Black women do so poorly when it comes to the swirling market, they aren't doing that great on the domestic dating front either. Let's count a few ways, shall we? Number one, Black women are just too damn big. Black women are just too damn big. Sure, it might be true that Black men don't mind a little extra padding, but the fact remains that Black men who matter, like the kinds you lovely ladies tend to want the most, don't want all that extra padding far too many of you are hoisting around these days. Moreover, no matter how many woke body positive campaigns you wage, you're not going to change what Black men who matter want. So there. One, Black women are just too damn big. Number two, Black women have a public relations problem. They, reading you that I'm speaking to right now that's watching this show, are seen by the American public at large and quite possibly the entire world as being too difficult to get along with. Be it due to nature or nurture, the bottom line here is that far too many Black women are far too disagreeable for their own good. And no man, Black or otherwise, wants to put up with that. I know I don't. This is the friendly of my fit, feminine, friendly, faithful, and fun. It's dead center, friendly. Are you friendly? Are you agreeable? Are you nice? Femininity is one thing. Are you feminine? That's another issue. But are you even agreeable? Do you cooperate? Or are you always snapping your neck, talking shit, and this is what gonna happen around here? Cause you ain't nobody gonna pop you upside your head, and you got the police that you can call, or your big brother, or another man to help you out. So you can just talk all that shit. Are you agreeable, ladies? Can we have a decent conversation without you using shaming tactics or insulting somebody or guilting somebody? Can you have a decent conversation with your man without arguing about something? Is it always negative somehow, some way? Do you have the congenital inability to fucking be nice? Number three, there's far too many Black women have kids out of wedlock. Yet another flashpoint in the gender wars between Black men and women. If you think it's bad here, imagine how hard it is to sell that to non-Black people, especially white men who have anything going for them. One of the major reasons why this is due to the fact that more often than not, Black women do a piss poor job. Black women do a piss poor job of choosing their baby daddies to begin with. And the whole thing creates a vicious cycle of pathology. I'm just saying, your selection process sucks, ladies. What does Sharon say? Shannon, the two-way street. The middle have found somewhere. The black women you're talking about have no home training. Run. Sharon is crazy. Be nice, Sharon. We talked about the sidebar. Just last night on Ask a Black Man Anything, we talked about perfection. That was the name of the show. The name of the show last night on the Ask a Black Man Anything channel. Just go check it out and subscribe, please. Just in YouTube, just type Ask a Black Man Anything and it'll pop up. Make sure you subscribe. Last night's topic was perfection. Are black men looking for perfection? Or black women looking for perfection? Or do black men think that black women are looking for perfection? And we played that show, the Pineapple Show, where that young girl, she turned down a nuclear physicist simply because she said that he didn't have a good personality. This brother came with every checkbox you can think of. At age 27, was handsome, according to what you can see on screen. And she said, pineapples, I don't want to date him. And we're like, what the fuck? Because by and large, and as this book has explained to us in previous chapters, black women do not pick based on long-term goals. They just want somebody, they want personality and pizzazz and flashy things first. And then all the things that matter, they'll select later if they ever get that far before they have a baby by the nigga. So it is what it is. I'm sorry. But ladies, your picking process in men suck, and you chase after the wrong guys, and the guys that should be with you, that's going to help you out in life where it actually matters, especially I'm talking to the young ladies right now. You suck at selecting them. You're chasing the wrong guys. And I know you think you got time. Your aunties thought they did too. Your mama thought she had time. Your older sister thought she had time. They don't. And you won't either, but it's going to be too late when you realize it. Now, we can go into the weeds from there. For example, I think one of the major reasons why the lovely Canadian sister referenced above had such a hard time finding a mate was because, frankly, she didn't make finding a mate a priority during her school years, which is something white women tend to be a lot better at, mind you. Far too many accomplished and educated sisters like Miss Hadaya tend to not pay attention to the guys who are checking for them during their undergrad or grad school years. Those sisters who can attract such brothers anyway, another topic for another chapter, while making other things in their life a top priority. No heat, no judgment, but you kind of look you're kind of looking crazy out here when you're running around doing the Chicken Little routine deep into your 30s and beyond, talking about that, where are all the good black men? And you in your 30s somewhere, right? When your racial counterpart, besties, been done, got her Herb and Seth and Jared back when they were in grad school, undergrad. Hell, I even know some cases where they met in high school and got married as soon as they were able to. My point here is that contrary to the perpetual victim narrative that Kerrison and Judas and Banks and Adianka, Skold and others have been parroting for decades, the bottom line is that we are all the common denominator in our lives, ourselves. Even more to the point, we all have a lot more agency to affect our own lives than many of you lovely ladies care to admit. The swirling narrative would have many of you believing that it's everyone else's fault for how and why you are all alone. The swirling narrative would have you think that it is everybody else's fault as to why you ain't got a man. What's up, Jubin? What's happening, Jubin? Jubin says, I played double baseball. I had a black woman tell me to come back when I play for a team she knows. Jubin says he had a black woman tell him he plays AA baseball. And the sister said, no, come back when I know that you're playing for a team that I heard of. Goodness gracious. Shout out to Jubin. Appreciate you being here. That's crazy. Anyways, let's continue. The swirling narrative would have you believe that it's everybody else's fault why you ain't got a man. When in truth, a big part of the reason why you're all alone, ladies, is because of you. Scapegoating black men at large or looking to non-black men to be your saviors won't change that fact of life. The swirling wars. Let's talk about the swirling wars. As previously noted, although swirling is a term that has been taken to mean black women dating and mating out, the fact remains that black men have always had an edge over black women in this regard. Indeed, despite a long history of lynchings and grisly murders of black men by white men in this country for even having eyes for a white woman, and the fact that black men like famed boxer Jack Johnson became fugitives from the law for daring to love a non-black woman, black men continue to enjoy a rather popular status among non-black women that has been the source of much tension between black men and women. Hardly a month seems to go by without the latest outrage from the sisterhood, right? The sisterhood. Y'all know who the sisterhood is, right? We explain that. Over some desirable and successful black men choosing to keep company with a non-black woman. Books and movies and articles have been produced about the themes for decades. And if social media in our time is anything to go by, it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. You see, while Kerrison and her compatriots online have been busy at work empowering black women to supposedly expand their options, a smaller but quite vocal group of black men have been making the case for their brothers to leave American shores altogether to seek love. There's a male version of the pink pill. It is known as SYSBM, or the Passport Bros. Representatives of each have become part of what is known as the Black Manosphere online and have a degree of influence and pull both within and outside of it. Now, to be sure, black men going elsewhere for love, however you define it, right, certainly predates the Black Manosphere and aforementioned offshoots by quite a few years. Like Jewel Woods documented this very well in his excellent read, Don't Blame It on Rio, the real deal behind why men go to Brazil for sex. That was written in 2008. But the intent was ancient back then compared to today. And since the rise of Crystalline Kerrison and her ilk, these corresponding voices on the black male side have only gotten louder and more organized. SYSBM, for those that don't know, stands for Save Yourself, Black Men. In a very real sense, while the swirling movement, as Crystalline Kerrison has conceived it, has done precious little to move the needle in actually getting black women en masse the kind of love that they desire, it has succeeded in spades in having a direct hand in creating the very corresponding movement on the other side to say the exact same thing about black women that the swirling crowd have been saying about black men. That neither ain't shit. Black men ain't shit. Black women ain't shit. That's what SYSBM is saying. And worse, that neither side, if they're being honest, is willing to admit that maybe, just possibly, the reason why they're having so much trouble with the opposite sex owes more to personal blind spots, right? Failings and shortcomings personally than anything endemic to black men or black women. Because after all, the fact that 2.5 million upper class black men are married to black women at a rate of nearly 85%, as mentioned earlier, could just as easily be directed at the SYSBM Passport Bros crowd as it could be applied to the swirling sisterhood or the pink pill crowd. It is glaring proof that ADOS black Americans are making it happen against all the odds and raises the inevitable, albeit a deeply uncomfortable question for both sides. Why don't you have one? Why you don't have somebody? Why are you single? Now, put that together with the fact that SYSBM and Passport Bro crowds also lowers the bar quite a bit when it comes to putting their passports in the sky. And you can see, again, a direct mirror reflection of swirling sisterhood. For example, just like when the swirling sisters make a lot of hay out of standards when it comes to black men, but mysteriously lower those standards when it comes to white men. Black men make a lot of hay about single mothers, but when they get overseas, they just so happen to wind up with single mothers. They got this big stink about single moms here in America. They're like, oh, you got baby mom, I ain't dating no baby. But then when they go to fucking Rio de Janeiro, when they go to Colombia, when they go overseas, they don't have no problems with those women being single mothers. The same passport bros who bemoan the state of baby mamaism here stateside among native black women have no qualms going thousands of miles over great bodies of water and getting with baby mamas of a foreign land. The three popular destination spots for black men along these lines is Brazil, Colombia, and the Dominican Republic. All boast baby mama rates that rival or even exceed that of contemporary black America. And I personally know quite a few black men who have kept company with ladies from these countries who were baby mamas. When asked directly why they were okay, why brothers, why are you okay with them baby mamas overseas, but not with the homegrown variant of our baby mamas here in America? I got a rather tepid response about weight and temperament and so on, as if overweight or disagreeable women don't also exist in those countries. You get my point with the regard on the other side, right? That an increasing number of the lovely ladies has sat up and taken notice of these brothers only mightily contribute to an already seriously acrimonious situation between black women and men. And while I've gone on the record in my support for them of the same reasons that I support the right for sisters to love whomever they wish, I gotta tell you, there isn't a heck of a lot of difference between the swirling sisterhood and these guys over here in the SYSBM Passport Bros movements. My man Chris is in the house. Everybody give a shout out, throw your ones up to my man Chris.
Being number one isn't easy.
Chris Davis, he's one of my partners over at Ask a Black Man Anything. He says if you have a proper vetting method, you can have a better mate. Chris sells a book, The Ultimate Vetting Guide. All you got to do is go to Yahoo, go to Google, and type Ultimate Vetting Guide, Chris Davis. Buy that book. Ladies, if you guys want to be able to pick a better man, you're going to need some goddamn help, because doing it on your own ain't working. Leaving it up to your own vices is not working. Your meter needs calibration. Your pick-a-man meter, your pick-a-man detector needs calibration, ladies. It needs some adjustments made. Right now, it's not running on all the cylinders. And if you want some help, go grab The Ultimate Vetting Guide by Chris Davis. Read the book, ladies. It's a simple read. It's quick. You'll read it in one sitting. It will help you far and wide on choosing the better guy than you have been than Pookie and Ray Ray. Shout out to Chris. I appreciate you being here, bro. Let's continue. What I mean by that is that just like the argument for black women needing to swirl because black men ain't shit. That's what the pink pill says, the swirling women. The ones that says, oh, you know what, ladies, you need to get out of Blackistan. You need to go over here to the good side. Go date these white guys, these Asian guys, these Latina guys. Because you know why? Black men ain't shit. The SYSBM and Passport Bros crowd is saying the exact same thing in reverse. That black women ain't shit. And therefore, right-thinking black men must put their passports in the sky. Every legitimate point that the swirling sisterhood and or their advocates in academia or the media could make about how and why black women have to date out, these men could say the exact same thing on the opposite side. And while they and while they may not have as many academics or talking heads on their side, what they do have in support of their arguments can't easily be dismissed either. You see, consider the 2015 documentary film Frustrated: Black American Men in Brazil by filmmaker Al Grease. The points raised in the film itself are hard to ignore. What neither side in this conflict don't want to admit, the pink pill and the SYSBM movement, the swirling war, right? The swirlers, is that they are using the topic of swirling itself as kind of a cudgel to beat the other side up and down with. In essence, fighting a kind of proxy war using the bodies of others, or the idea of using them, non-ADOS and foreign-born Black Americans, to extend this multi-decades-long gender war between Black men and Black women. With both sides now in a full-on swirling war. Now, in a full-on swirling war, one has to ask, when will the cooler heads and Black love prevail? Let's look towards a more perfect union between the swirling wars, the army, the soldiers in the swirling wars. I took the time out to give special mention to the other side, the brothers who are also swirling by just another name or two, to highlight a point that there's enough blame to go around. It might be time. It might sound trite, but it's true. And if there is to be any hope at all for the future of Black America, if there's to be any hope for the future of Black America, both sides, Black women and Black men, are going to have to learn how to get along in a time when we no longer need each other, but rather we still want each other around for more than 15 minutes or less of bumping bellies. It is a challenge I highlighted in my previous book, the Book of Obsidian, and bears repeating here as I close out. We got to get along, y'all. We keep fighting each other, we ain't gonna have no Black community. They're gonna eliminate the Black community. Was it all by design? Did they know? Did somebody know that this was gonna happen if they just set certain things in motion to make us hate each other? In the name of righting the wrongs of the past, Black relationships fell apart. The proof of this is easily seen in a raft of statistics, research, and data from the late 1960s through the early part of this century. The Black marital rate plunged from its high in the mid-century to an all-time low today. It should also be pointed out that Blacks were married at a rate higher than white people, and at the height of Jim Crow to boot. The out-of-wedlock birth rate, which was always a bit higher for Blacks than whites throughout the previous century, was at the start of 1960s at around only 20%. By the start of the 21st century, it had more than tripled. True, marriage for all Americans, and especially whites, has gone down as well, and the rate of out-of-wedlock births has risen significantly since the early 1960s. But the fact still remains that these numbers are far and away worse for Black Americans. There's simply no getting around it. And while there have been numerous attempts at explaining these sobering facts away by pinning the tail on the Jim Crow donkey, the Black love machine says otherwise. It's hard to explain away the sheer degree of strife and acrimony between Black men and women, including those who are doing well in supposedly lingering racist society. You see, the excellent read, Don't Blame It on Real, the real deal behind why men go to Brazil for sex, is a powerful case in point. Following the lead of Northwestern University academic Mary Patillo, who is widely recognized expert on the Black middle class. Jewel Woods carefully documents the views of black men and women along dating and mating lines, and the results are not pretty. Despite Woods' explanation for what we clearly read in the pages of his book, it is simply tough to square the idea that a legacy of slavery. It's tough to blame it on slavery. It's tough to square the idea that a legacy of slavery is to account for how and why successful black men and women just can't get along today. Especially when black Americans under the heel of Jim Crow itself were more married than white people were, the freest people in American society. So what happened? In a word, freedom happened. What's up, Shay? Everybody give Shay a shout out. Thank you for being here, Shay. Shay, make sure you type the word salute in the chat. Type the word salute, S-A-L-U-T-E, in the chat so you can get entered into the contest. So everybody type the word salute. Appreciate you being here. So what happened, guys? In a word, freedom. Freedom happened. Blacks were, as a result of racism in its various guises, forced to be with each other. But when the freedoms that came with various movements of the 60s and the 70s rolled around, along with historic Loving versus Virginia High Court decision, black Americans increasingly found that they no longer needed each other. Black flight began to occur, and it didn't just start in the form of better off black families heading for the sometimes white suburbs. It occurred on the more interpersonal levels as well. Simply put, black men and women found that they wanted different things, that they had different ideas about what living your best life even means, what it looks like, and most importantly, who should call the shots in the attainment of it. Black women, with their increased educational, career, and reproductive freedoms, saw fit to flex their muscles and spread their wings in the service of their own ideas, needs, and interests. And the official striking down of the anti-miscegenation laws that gave black men the ability to consider mates more amenable to what their ideas of a good life looks like. As a result, ladies and gentlemen, black men and women, the very core of black America itself, began to come apart. A very cruel irony, ain't it? Everybody type salute in the chat. Black folk love diversions, men and women alike. One of the reasons why the topic of race remains so strong, a talking point for many of us, is because it allows us the diversion from not having to openly confront things about ourselves that are true causes of our unhappiness. Using non-blacks or non-ADOS blacks, for that matter, as a way to get back at the other side not only won't work in case you lovely ladies, it's also patently unfair, unethical, and indecent to people who have absolutely nothing to do with the state of relations between black men and women today. If you're really in the market for finding someone to love, try being someone lovable first. If you're really in the market for finding someone to love, please first be someone lovable, regardless of color. And boom, that is chapter 17. We're going to move on to chapter 18. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. Are you guys tapped in? Are you a swirler? Okay, Sharon, I'll talk to you. Thank you. Are you a swirler, ladies and gentlemen? And are you swirling because they ain't shit? Is that the reason why? Let's talk about the common denominator. This chapter is shorter than the last one we just read. Let's talk about the common denominator, chapter 18. And it's not surprising because women have more at stake sexually than men do, per episode, because men don't get pregnant, obviously, right? Women have more at stake than men. And so that female pickiness is that. that's the case, that's definitely true. Whether it's worse now or not, I doubt if it is. I would say to younger men who are irritated at women is, if you're irritated at women, as a class as a class of creature, there's something wrong with you because they're right. You're wrong. They're right to not pick you. If they're not picking you, it's because they're right. And this was from Dr. Jordan Peterson, the Canadian clinical psychologist, YouTube personality, author, and professor emeritus at the University of Toronto. Shout out to Dr. Peterson, Jordan Peterson. I like him. And he also says, it's like, okay, so you're a young man, all the women are rejecting you. Who's got the problem? It's not all the women. That's a bad road to go down. If all the women are rejecting you, it's you. If all the women are rejecting you, it's you. Ladies, if all the men ain't checking for you, what's wrong with you? If men ain't checking for you in the manner in which you'd like to be checked for, what's wrong with you? Unless you've been locked away in another dimension or hiding under a rock somewhere in the hinterlands, the source of the above quotations will need no introduction. For the past few years, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, Canadian-born clinical psychologist and academic, has been at the forefront of social media wave, acting as the daddy many and not so young men have never had. His YouTube channel boasts some 4.5 million subscribers, while his Instagram account has garnered a truly impressive 2.8 million followers. Even more impressive is his best-selling book, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, which, according to Peterson's website, has sold more than 5 million copies worldwide. Peterson's tough bucko love for the fellas have been universally acclaimed and warmly embraced by men and women alike. And his above quotations are something that you lovely ladies in particular are apt to give a standing ovation to. Hey, Lakeisha. Glad you're here, babe.
Hooah!
Lakeisha is here. Good to have you. A clear and present example of this is in the popular social media personality Yanni Red. Her reaction to Peterson's appearance on the Roommates podcast in the fall of last year, where he made those remarks in the first leadoff quote, led to her agreeing with the good doctor for nearly 2.5 hours, with nearly 50,000 views, over 2,000 likes and shares, and almost 1,000 comments chiming in to enthusiastically agree with her. While Peterson's detractors, critics, and out-and-out haters are quick to lambaste his rules for living advice to men as basic, just good old common sense, and warmed over pat boilerplate, and the fact remains that his message deeply resonates to the men who need it, of which there are millions. And whatever triggers one about Peterson or his trite words at bottom, he's right. You are the constant factor in all of your relationships. You are the constant factor in all of your relationships. If you keep encountering problems with other people, in this case, men encountering problems with women, the problem is with the men, not the women. The problem, if you keep encountering problems with women, fellas, the problem is you. It's not the girls. Nor is this advice on the part of a good doctor something men don't already know. Those that are, quote unquote, in the know, in the world of pickup artists and devotees of studied game, newbies are told the exact same thing by their gurus. One common truism among the world's foremost master seducers of women that they impart to their students is that if you approach 10 women and more than half of them reject you outright, the problem isn't with the women, brother. The problem is with you. This same line of reasoning is extended throughout the courting dance. If you get 10 phone numbers of women and more than half of them are fake phone numbers, If you get 10 phone numbers at the nightclub and more than half them phone numbers are fake, the problem isn't with the women who gave you fake phone numbers, brothers. The problem is with you. If you approach 10 women and you chat them up effectively, get their phone numbers accurately, and set up 10 dates with them all, and more than half of them flake on you, the problem isn't with the women who flaked on you. The problem is with you. Pickup artist gurus call these and other problems areas men face with women sticking points. And it is made clearly and flatly from day one that these men's problems and men's problems alone, these are men's problems and men's problems alone. Again, one is hard pressed to find many women disagreeing with what I just wrote and reported above, regardless as to their individual take of pickup artists and game is. Women are not going to argue with everything I just read. It is men's reason. It is the problem with the guy if more than half the chicks ain't checking for him. If he got half fake phone numbers, if more than half the women flaked on going on a date with him, he's the fucking problem. You women aren't going to argue with that, right? That sounds good to you. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to you lovely ladies, I know you agree with what I just said about the men, right? When men can't seem to get real phone numbers after a night of clubbing, when men can't seem to land solid dates, more than 50% of the women he approaches flakes on him or ignores him or whatever, ghosts him. You women don't have a problem with me telling you that. But when it comes to you lovely ladies, things are quite different. All of a sudden, none of the problems you encounter in dating and mating are in fact your fault, but indeed the fault of everyone else, including the men, of course. The evidence of this line of thinking is rife, but consider the following Facebook post from a young lady that I had gotten to know fairly well that she just made the other day. Men act like choosing better is so easy. As a woman who has never dated men with kids, thugs, I never dated a Pookie Ray Ray or men with criminal records, a lot of these quote unquote nice guys are just as bad. You can come into contact with a man who genuinely comes off as ideal and then he's trash. What does choose better mean when you can't tell if a person is real or not? Wouldn't it make sense to tell men to do better so women can choose better? It's men's fault. Tell men to do better so we can choose better. You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. Upon first reading this post, I was taken aback. As I said, I gotten to know her fairly well through our cordial exchange in the forum in question, which happens to be one of a battalion of groups based on and or devoted to the sayings, quotations, and overall ideas of the one and only Saint Kevin Samuels, a hero to many black men and an enemy to many black women. As you might imagine, this particular forum, just about all of the discussion forums bearing Samuel's name, is fraught with tension and strife between black men and women. I thought that this young lady in her mid-30s, by the way, she's in her mid-30s, raised by an involved and strong dad, a military veteran, now back in civilian life, and quite attractive with her cute afro puff drawn back into a bun, would have been above the fracas. Alas, this was not to be the case. In the space of less than 100 words, this level-headed, thoughtful, and reasoned black woman aped the it's not your fault line that so many women, black, white, and otherwise in our culture and in our time are spoon-fed, and swallowed it hook, line, and sinker, and it's wrong. How can it be possible in a day and age where men and women are supposed to be equal, more than a century after women got the vote in this country, More than half a century after women got the right to determine what goes on in with their bodies and what can have and that we can have such wildly different approaches and even justifications for how men are expected to accept full responsibility for the outcomes of their mating lives. Men are expected to accept full responsibility for the outcome of men's mating lives, while women, on the other hand, are wholly exempt from the same. The answers aren't hard to ferret out, just shocking in how all of us are so complicit in keeping women, in this case black women, as little more than children. Let's count the ways, shall we? How the female dating industry lies to women, and how Black Love Machine and how the Black Love Machine is the biggest liar of them all. In more than a decade, since I've taken an active interest in the science, indeed business, and of dating and mating, particularly in Black American context, what I have consistently found is how early and how often the coaches, the experts, and gurus are nowhere near as cut and dried with their advice for the lovely ladies, and certainly nowhere near as candid. The examples are far too numerous to list here in full, but a few will illustratively sufficed. On December 16th, 2021, that was not even 7 months ago, longtime funny man and de facto Black love guru Steve Harvey fielded a question from a younger Black woman asking if weight should matter in dating on his popular Facebook watch show. The Black woman in question, Arcia, is clearly overweight, if not outright obese by any reasonable medical standard. And while I certainly don't support the actions of her date, the fact remains that yes, ladies, your weight does matter in dating. One would think that this would be a slam dunk for Steve Harvey, right? Easy answer. It was a simple question asked in a straight no chaser kind of way, right down the center of the plate, right? But did Steve Harvey answer the question in the just over 4-minute exchange he had with Miss Arcia? To ask the question is to answer it. Steve Harvey's response to this young woman was to put all of the blame onto Arcia's date, saying that he was only interested in having sex with her and little more. While I don't doubt that what Harvey said, big girls have been and always will be soft targets for guys looking to get laid on the quiet. Steve Harvey studied slickertism was on full display. Not once, not one time did Steve Harvey tell Arcia or even suggest that her earnest question indeed had some merit. But you see, Miss April Mason out of Georgia confessed to popular Black manosphere YouTuber, the lead attorney, you want to make some money in a relationship business? Sell women fluff. That's what April Mason said. Eluding straight up questions from his largely Black female audience is nothing new to Steve Harvey. In fact, he's been doing it for years. The infamous serial adulterer and self-love ambassador, Mr. Derek Jackson, is another example of how Black love gurus routinely lie to Black women, tell them what they want to hear, and remove any responsibility for their role that they play in their own mating lives. Mr. Derek Jackson, who had been frontally exposed by gossip maven Tasha K last spring for his near Tiger Woods level cheating on his wife, routinely threw Black men as a whole under the bus for the love life failures of Black women. Indeed, in Jackson's world, no Black women were to blame, and no Black male was blameless for Black women's own missteps, faux pas, and downright delusional natures. Even now, nearly a year later, black women can be seen either actively defending Derek Jackson or doing the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil routine, claiming that I never followed or liked Derek Jackson anyway. Bullshit. All of you did. I was there. Shannon was there. When you have a nearly 5 million combined social media following, the idea that all these black women suddenly never heard of the guy or never hung on his every word gets a bit hard to believe. I've even had a popular social media personality, influencer, and matchmaker, whose name I won't mention because I don't want him to get into trouble, tell me flat out, face to face, after one of his popular speed dating events for upwardly mobile black professional singles held at a swanky upscale hotel here in Philadelphia, that he will simply refuse to discuss black female obesity with his large black female clientele. He won't talk about being fat to his fat clients. This, despite the fact that many of those same lovely ladies had no problem, no qualms, being pinpoint precise and extreme in their exacting standards for black men, which included that he must be tall, dark, and handsome. Literally, he confessed that such a thing was indeed an issue, but he simply couldn't bring it to himself to broach the topic with his fat clients. After all, he's got a wife and kids to feed. I can't talk about being fat to my fat clients. I need their money. So I cannot tell them that a big problem is that they eat too damn much. I need them to keep coming to my speed dating events and paying me to have hope with a fat ass. I can't tell them that. Among the many black female and some black male academics who study black love, there will be no shortage among their number who take a similar tack as Harvey and Jackson did, just in tweed and bifocals. Consider this piece from Furman University professor Sarah Adinka Skold, who in her interview with the Philadelphia Inquirer straight up said that it wasn't black women's fault if they encountered problems in love, but rather a racist society. She straight up said black women should find spaces where they can be themselves, be fully human, and completely appreciated for their humanity. That's already hard work, so that's all the work I'm going to ask black women to do. You ain't got to do nothing else. You just need to find the space to be yourself. The rest of us need to continue fighting for black female liberatism. The U.S. society was built largely on the stripping of black women's humanity and freedom. If we can turn that around and create a society that is equitable and just for black women, then we will truly see a rising tide that lifts all the boats. There are all these barriers, but the onus is not on black women. I think that we have an obligation to change a society that made it such that black women have to have these struggles in the first place. It is not black women's fault that they don't have a man. For his part, that is hard to read. Jeez. For his part, Stanford University Law School professor Ralph Richard Banks apes a very similar line in his book, Is Marriage for White People? How the African American Marriage Decline Affects Everybody. This was written in 2011, basically 11 years ago, arguing that it was the fault and failure of black men to keep up and measure up to black women's mating aspirations as to how and why black women kept losing, and that they needed to seek mates elsewhere. Because black men can't keep up with what black women want, it's black men's fault as to why black women are single, and black women need to look elsewhere. One of his featured figures in the book, Cecilia, a Harvard educated corporate lawyer, was particularly vociferous, married, and subsequently divorced from a black man construction worker. Celia's tale was riveting proof in the flesh of what happens when highly educated and earning black women like herself, like Celia was, are forced to date and marry down to black men who just can't cut it. It's a familiar story, you guys, hawked by what I refer to as the black vagina vision media, one that has been a staple of black love discourse for nearly half a century, thanks to Miss Oprah Winfrey, Essence and Ebony magazines, and in more recent years, outlets like Madame Noir. This, on top of the aforementioned Ebony Towers denizens, online black feminists, and black love gurus like Steve Harvey and Derek Jackson, all make for a Berlin Wall styled wave of bullshit that black women in particular use to justify not only their repeated failures in love, but how and why they don't need to do anything different because, as Professor Adinyaka Skold so boldly said, the onus is not on black women, but rather on everyone else to change. Black women can just be who they are and stay the same. There's nothing for you to do. Everybody else needs to change. You're the only thing right in a wrong world, as Shannon says. I've been around long enough to know that whenever someone in this case, a black woman like Miss Banks, Cecilia, talks that much smack, it's a good idea to see if I can track them down to see for myself what the deal is. And see, I did. After 6 years of scouring the internet for more on Miss Cecilia, also known as Miss Carolyn Edgar, I was able to find this piece she wrote in her own words that revealed key details of information about herself that Banks, a fellow classmate of Miss Eggers at Harvard Law School, conveniently omitted, conveniently left out, conveniently didn't write about in her book. This is the part that she didn't mention in her book as she wrote about Cecilia. But I found Cecilia and her real name, Miss Edgar, and I found something that Miss Edgar wrote herself. Miss Edgar says, when I was 14, I was what guys call thick. In 1979 terms, though, I was just fat. I developed early and had boobs and butt galore, but I also had linebacker arms and thighs to go along with them. In my family, my sisters were the beauties. My oldest sister, Cheryl, was fair-skinned with deep green eyes. My second oldest sister, Caroletta, had naturally wavy hair that required no heat straightening to cascade over her shoulders and down her back. I had neither of those qualities. My eyes were hazel, more brown than green, and my hair, according to my mother, was nappy and had to be pressed. Both my sisters were slimmer than me. My oldest sister was short and curvy, and my second oldest sister was thin and muscular, with a tiny waist and large breasts. With my brown hair and brown skin and brown eyes and thick thighs, I most closely resembled a piece of well-done fried chicken. Since I wasn't considered a beauty in my family, I tried to content myself with being the smart girl. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the good girl, the girl who never got into trouble, and I told on my siblings who did. When I reached my teens, I didn't just want to be smart anymore. I wanted to be cute too. But my weight kept getting in the way. At Precious Blood, the small Catholic school I attended for 8th grade, the fine boys in my class either ignored me or they teased me. It was always good sport to make fun of the fat girl. The only other male attention I regularly received was the street harassment that I endured nearly every single day as I walked home after school. You see, men would drive slowly alongside me, shouting out, "Hey, baby, can I talk to you?" And I would ignore them and continue walking, acting as if I didn't hear the comments they made about my ass and what they'd like to do with it. Eventually, they would scream, "Fuck you then, you fat bitch," when I kept my eyes focused ahead and refused to acknowledge those men that drove by slow. Now, all throughout my 8th grade, I had watched couples sneak across the parking lot at recess and go behind the nursing home adjacent to Precious Blood, right? It was a nursing home right next to my school, Precious Blood, and they would make out. High school, I hoped, would mean a wider variety of boys, some of whom might appreciate my ass, like the men who followed me in the cars did, but hopefully without the "fuck you fat bitch" part. Unlike all the schools I'd gone to before, my high school, Cass Technical High School, in Detroit's largest and most prestigious high school, was huge. With over 5,000 students, the school was filled with good-looking boys everywhere I turned. My second oldest sister, a senior, was friends with all the hot senior guys, but to them, I was just her little freshman sister. Along with the multitude of hot guys, there were girls at my school who were bona fide glamour queens. Every day, these daughters of doctors and lawyers and judges came to school with their slim bodies, dressed in the latest fashion. I envied their tight Calvin Klein jeans, their fresh from the salon hairstyles, their fashion flair and Clinique makeup, and their Coach purses. With so many beautiful girls around, no matter how many boys that I had a crush on, and the crushes felt like a legion at that point. I had a crush on a lot of people. The guys that I wanted to notice me were paying no attention to the shy, nerdy, fat girl. As I would go on to note in my column on the matter at the Negro Manosphere website, Edgar, the girl who just wrote that piece, right? And Banks, the lady who called her Cecilia in her book and didn't mention this part, knew what her real problem was on the dating and mating market, particularly at the high value man level. She knew only too well at one of the foremost universities on the planet that she was just too damn fat. They didn't mention that in the book. She didn't mention that when she was talking about Cecilia. She just blamed it on men and that there's nothing that Cecilia needs to do. Sidebar. It's men's fault as to why Cecilia can't get no man. Didn't mention that Cecilia was fat and had a problem with this all her life. And that her sisters had no problem because they were fit. And the like Steve Harvey did also to Arcia. Banks refused to tell Edgar that yes, black men like himself don't do fat chicks. It's harsh to say openly. I get it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is harsh to say openly. It's easy for me to do it on my podcast, but generally speaking, it's harsh to say. But it's the truth, and no one's reading this can deny it. No matter how much Lizzo or Feminista Jones or Brittany Cooper or the other umpteen body positivity activists on social media whine, bitch, and moan, the truth of the matter is that men who matter, like Banks, Obama, and Harper, may either nod approvingly at the prevailing ethos of the day or say nothing at all. But one thing's for sure, they are not going out and about with women like Edgar on their arm. That is reserved for down market black men. That is reserved for average guys. Fat women are not, fat women are for average, low-hanging fruit black men. Something Miss Edgar would know quite a bit about. This kind of sidestepping, scapegoating, and race hustling backwards is all too common in Black American life, as mentioned above. And there are powerful incentives for Mr. Harvey and Derek Jackson and Banks and Miss Scold and the whole of the Black love machine to keep doing this. Money, fame, in these cases of guys like Jackson, women. For every so-called critic of pickup and game out there, for every nemesis of the Black manosphere and Kevin Samuels, the people that hate Kevin Samuels out there, none of them measure up to the sheer and daily mendacity these peddlers serve up to millions of black women on the regular. And we all know good and damn well that if the shoe were on the other foot, none of it would get off the runway, let alone fly at 50,000 feet. The time has finally come, at last, for you black women to wake up. Grow up and take responsibility for your dating and mating life. And since it's abundantly clear that the aforementioned usual suspects won't do it, the universe has sent me Obsidian, Mumia Obsidian Ali, to get the job done by telling you black women the harsh, cold, bitter truth that it is your fault that you are having a shitty time in the dating and mating spaces today. And only you can and should do something about it. We only got 2 pages left. What up, Clement? My man Clement's in the house. Hoo-ah! Appreciate you being here, bro. I don't know what y'all talking about over in the chat because I'm deep into this book. This is good info. Yes, ladies, black women, you are the common denominator in your life. So, ladies, please get over it. If what Dr. Peterson said was good for the goose, then it most certainly is what's good for the gander. Ladies, even if the good doctor dare not say so himself, only the most deeply in delusional denial or the most ideological blinkered and butthurt will attempt to twist Jordan Peterson's admonishments to men in a way that exempts women from the same. You women don't get a different rule book when it comes to this. It's your fault too. And only you twisted delusional motherfuckers seem to think that there's 2 different sets of rules. It's your fault if you're not winning. Like the men, if you ladies keep encountering men who don't choose you, men who don't treat you well, men who, for whatever reason, aren't giving you the dating and mating results you want, the problem isn't all the men, it's you. The reason he won't call you back, the reason none of them call you back, the reason you're only treated for sex and they only call you when they want to fuck. The only reason that you aren't winning is because it's you. The problem is you. Yes, there are supposedly nice guys who in truth are jerks, assholes, trash, you name it. And it's also true that you keep consistently choosing such guys to partner with. The problem isn't all the nice guys. The problem, ladies, is you. Yes, we live in an unfair world. Some of this unfairness will manifest itself along racial axis. And yes, some people, in this case, men, will use that racial piece against you. Yes, it's true. But God damn it, grow up. Your mom and grandmom had to deal with the exact same racial piece too, if not an order of magnitude more than you have to deal with it today. And yet chances are very high that they met a good man to marry. And if they didn't, it's little wonder why you're a loser. After all, studies have indeed shown that losers beget more losers of the same. In any event, a legacy of slavery and Jim Crow or the Ku Klux Klan is not the reason how and why you keep losing out on these dating and mating streets, ladies. That's a bad road to go down. The reason why you keep losing in your dating and mating success is because of you. And it is most certainly true that big girls, it is most certainly true that fat girls, obese girls, big girls, however you choose to define them, tend to not get chosen by the hot guys, at least not in the light of day. Say what you will about that, but if you haven't figured it out by now, the hot guys, the high value guys, the masters of the universe guys, couldn't possibly care less what you have to say about the matter. They don't give a fuck what you think. They gonna do them, and they have all the means and wherewithal to fix it to where the twain That means you and them shall never meet. If you're really serious about being where the men who matter are, you will lose the chunk. Get your ass in the gym, eat a salad, and put down that fucking food, and stop driving in a place that offers a drive-through. And lose the weight and stop whining. And for those of you out there who call yourselves throwing in the towel and giving up, because there's a ton of y'all. That's what I keep running into. Everybody that just gives up, say, love me for me. Fuck it. I'm fat and happy. I'm not going to work that hard to lose this weight. Oh, you know what? I'm going to look sick if I get skinny. I've heard all the excuses. For those of you ladies out there who just throw in the towel, I say the same thing to you that I did to the MGTOWs who got mad at me nearly 4 years ago. Quit if you choose. You know what MGTOW is, right? Men go their own way. They're just basically saying fuck women altogether, which is weird to me because I love me some women. Quit if you choose. Desist if you must. But don't fool yourself. There is nothing honorable about being a quitter. It may be understandable. It may be justifiable. But it is by no means honorable. The winners in life win because they refuse to make excuses for themselves. I should have worn my no excuses t-shirt today. The winners in life win because they refuse to make excuses for themselves. The losers in life lose because they have nothing but excuses for themselves. Ladies, which kind of black women do you want to be? A winner or a loser? A fit winner or a fat loser? Which one you gonna be? A fit winner or a fat loser? And that is it for the day. We are done. We are done. We are done. We are done. Monday is chapter 19. Do black women really know their worth? Uh-oh. Do black women really know their worth? That's Monday. That's Monday. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for tapping into Rich People Read, where we read a book a month to instruct you in the ways of the successful through the power of reading. Remember that reading is the way to expand your mind and your bank account. Let's do a giveaway real quick. I hope everybody typed salute in the chat. If you didn't, you missed out, because right now I am closing the entries and I'm getting ready to pick a winner. Entries are now closed, and the winner, Lakeisha Michelle. Lakeisha Michelle, say it sexy and keep it sexy and tight, ladies. Stay fit. That's right, Lakeisha. Lakeisha Michelle is the winner of today's contest. Let's close that out. Lakeisha, you already know what to do. You be winning all the time. You know, we do this giveaway every time I go live. Right? I appreciate you guys being here. Everybody, please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. I only got 18 thumbs up. Can I get 2 more thumbs up to make it an even 20? You know, you have unlimited social media, social digital currency. You have unlimited amount of social digital currency in your bank account. It means you have unlimited likes, unlimited subscribes. You got lots of that. Can I have one? Can I get a subscribe and a like? You got an unlimited supply. You're like a quadrillionaire in those. Can I get one? Just one. Can I get 1 thumbs up and 1 like and 1 subscribe on this video on my channel? 1 subscribe on my channel, 1 like on this video. Please share it. That's free too. You know, you got an unlimited amount of that. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. What did Jubin says again? No man can say just love me for me with my $7.26 hour per job, my $7.26 per hour job. I'm broke. Just love me. So no. Why can a fat baby mama say she needs her 1%er guy? Shout out to Jubin. I know. Did I read a little bit of enthusiasm today, Miss Drea? I know. Because I think the onus is on women to fix this shit. That's why. The problem with the mating and dating in Black America is the solution is in women. The solution is in women. Are you guys gonna change your minds to make it happen? That's another argument. But I believe the solution lies on you. Appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Please join the SR Army and join our Facebook group. It's popping over there. Lakeisha got it popping. And I'm making moderators and I'm making experts over there. We're taking, it's called Sidebar. We're taking conversations that we're having over here and moving it over to Facebook. All you got to do is go to the website and go to sidebar.shannonrawls.com. It'll take you straight to the Facebook group. The link is also in the description of this video, so you can find it there as well. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you on the next chapter of Rich People Read, which is Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning. All right. Appreciate you. And you are now dismissed.
Yeah. Escucha. Mío en tu habitación, solo los 2 segundos que hay que detener. Porque si no siento tu voz o tu olor, te extraño y te quiero ver. Quiero ver. Tanto me falta. Todas esas noches tan soñadas. Que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada. Me haces falta, bebé. Dime qué tengo que hacer pa' tenerte de una vez, pa' no poderte perder. Dulce, eres mi bombón. Te quiero melocotón. Por ti corro un maratón. Solo de la dirección. Tú y yo, queriendo más amor. Pa' mí no es suficiente. Yo quiero tu calor. Tú y yo, con esa conexión. Somos lo que la gente no ha visto de los dos. Tanto me falta. Todas esas noches tan soñadas. Que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada. Mira, somos perfectos. Es algo indiscutible. Mi estilo y tu estilo no están disponibles. Solo soy sensible cuando te tengo porque eres irresistible. Tus labios combinan con tus ojos porque eres tan pretty que hasta yo de eso me antojo. Chica, necesito mis anteojos. Quiero verte en noche hermosa de todos modos. Tú y yo, queriendo más amor. A mí no es suficiente. Yo quiero tu calor. Tú y yo, con esa conexión. Somos lo que la gente no ha visto de los dos. Tanto me falta. Todas esas noches tan soñadas. Que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada. Tanto me falta. Todas esas noches tan soñadas. Que me levantes a mirada. Tú tienes pinta de indicada.